spirits guided me to the coffee aisle and said, shove this up your butt. And I thought, that sounds like a spirit to listen to.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Fabulous People.
Woo!
I'm Mike.
Just thought we could.
I'm Mike Mayashiro, and we have Abi Stumvoll with us today. Yay!
That's me.
Listen,
How do you say your last name again?
Mayashiro.
Oh, that's great. I've
How
never
do
heard
you
it
say
said that
it?
way. I've never heard it said that way.
No one says it like that.
No. I don't know that I've heard tons of people say your last name, but I've never heard the Maya.
What would you have said?
Marashir.
Marashiro.
I always think of cherries.
Maraschino cherry?
Yes, that's what I...
Get out.
But I don't think that it's like that, but I never know how to say it. Now I can't even remember how you said it.
Mayashiro.
Mayashiro.
Yeah.
Well, okay. That's nice. That's pretty. That's fancy.
Did you say my name's pretty?
No, I take it back. Fancy.
Okay, I'll take fancy. Thank you.
You
Yeah, I've got a
bougie
fancy
name.
Bougie. Actually, I'm realizing I was going to introduce you, but I think it might be best if you introduce you. I'll start, but then I'm going to need you to supplement
Great.
what I'm doing here.
Love to.
So you guys, Abi is a rock star.
Aww.
She's very good at all the things that she chooses to be part of. I'll give you a bit of a Is that funny? Is that not true?
I was just laughing at the things she chooses to be part of. It sounds like I'm very if I choose to do that, I will be great at it. So
She's good at everything, whether she chooses to be.
No, I love it. I'm loving it. Continue on. This is great.
Listen, when I first met Abi, I had just gotten a job at Bethel Church, working in the events department, and she had just gotten hired as a revival group pastor in the ministry school.
That's true.
And within a couple of years, Abi had risen to stardom, dominating the revival group pastor role, blowing the standard above, going out of her way, going above and beyond what was expected of a pastor in that arena, and was just the talk of the town constantly.
Hysterical.
Everyone for a few years
Thank you.
Everyone was obsessed with who Abi was. Like, oh, you're in Abi's group? Oh my gosh, did you go to Abi's thing? Did you hear Abi's doing this? It was constant all the time. It was crazy. I actually volunteered for you for a year, right?
Yeah, it was so fun.
It was super cool.
I liked having you around.
Thank you. I liked being around. That's how we got to know each other,
Yeah.
right? Anyway, so Abi has since continued to evolve and ascend. What do you do now? Like, who are you? Who are you?
Oh, thank you. I'm somebody different than what I do. So if you
What are you?
What are you doing?
What are you doing with your life?
Me and my husband have merged our lives, which that's very exciting for me, because we both had our own business, and so Justin had his own podcast, and I had my own world. We both were life consultants, so we both meet with people and help them figure out how to get whole and free and past the things that they're stuck at, mostly because we were so screwed up ourselves. And so then we ended up kind of falling into it. Like, somebody just honestly asked us if they could pay us to do it. That's how it happened. We had a friend who's like, every time I'm hanging out with you, I'm getting so much breakthrough. I think you're made to do this. Can I pay you for this?
Wow.
And we were like, okay. I was doing it to be nice, honestly. We both did that separately, and now we still have our own individual clients. We started training people to do it because I had like a 3-year waiting list, which was stupid.
3 years?
It was a long waiting list. Maybe it took you at least a year to get in, but could be for me. Yeah. And so I was like, well, this is not helpful to people.
Right.
To most of the people.
Right.
So then we started training people to do it.
Wow.
And now that is a much better system because now you can actually get help.
Yeah. You can help more
what
people.
What is hysterical is by the time people met with me, I'd be like, they didn't even know what they had originally signed up to work with because it was so long ago,
Right.
But it's been really good. So we train people. We have an online course. We have several online courses we're doing this year, which is really fun. And we're doing lots of everything to help more people get access. So we just created a thing called the Father Series, which is a 12-part audio / workbook / it's like doing counseling for 3 months, but you won't have to pay what you would pay for counseling for 3 months.
Wow.
So our goal is to work through dad issues and how they affect your life and get reset, because your dad affects God and everything, right? Basically.
Do you think one of you plays more of a role in that than the other, or do you both kind of bring...
No, it's kind of hard because we're both head honchos.
Totally.
Like, I don't know I see a lot of people who have spouses that really compliment them. Like Chris Valentin and Kathy. She's like this amazing addition to him. Like, he has this crazy vision, and she makes everything happen. She has so much peace and love. It's like we are two Chris Valentins married to each other. But it's really fun.
And your Instagram stories tend to reflect this gritty, authentic, vulnerable,
Yes.
this happened today.
Totally.
I got mad about this stupid thing, and then he said this, and we worked it out.
Here's my thing on Instagram. Can we just show what real life is?
Totally.
Not everybody needs to. I like the pretty cultivated pictures. Like, that's nice. I don't have any judgments about other people's Instagram. I just think I scroll through Instagrams and I imagine what their lives are based on that. Even though I'm emotionally intelligent enough to know this isn't their life.
Totally.
But I still subconsciously drift that way. And so I'm like, I would like people to know what it really looks like to have a great marriage. I think I have one of the best marriages on the planet. But we fight and we get annoyed at each other. And we have to, work through stuff. And I want us to break through the plasticky Instagram. So it's all real. And we have a podcast, me and him together.
What is it called?
The Connected Life.
Okay, right.
And this is where we talk about all the real things.
I love it.
Like, this is what life is actually like. This isn't what it looks like from the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
So we're messy and vulnerable. I always like to, hey, we're not like gurus that are up here that are trying to teach you. Like, here's this great thing. Like, we're a mess, but also there's some things that we've learned because we've been a mess for so long.
Here's how to manage the mess a little better.
Here's how to, live a life where the mess doesn't create more messes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's, the full... And we travel and speak. So we do it,
in churches or,
Yeah, and conferences. We've done business conferences.
Why would someone have you come to
conferences.
speak at something? What are they thinking? And they're like, let's have Abby come out. Is there a certain topic or subject that you specialize in?
We both talk on loving yourself well. We talk on compassion. We talk on the Father's heart, God's heart. We do lots of inner healing stuff.
So if you meet somebody at the airport and they're like, what do you do? What do you tell them?
Oh, that's always, that's a great question.
I still don't know what to tell
people. What
people.
do you tell people?
No, I'm asking you that question.
No, but
I'm trying to take some notes.
What do you actually say?
I think it depends on the conversation. Depending on where we're at, I might pick certain things that I'll just identify myself with, right? So maybe I'm a speaker, maybe I'm a trainer, maybe I'm a coach.
Yeah.
Maybe
I do the same thing, and it probably
entrepreneur
depends on an entrepreneur.
That's a nice umbrella, right?
It is a nice, and you are.
Are you not?
Oh, totally, I guess. Yeah. But when I think about you, I'm like, you always feel like you have your hands on a lot of business. But I guess I do too.
So do you. You just have this idea. Listen, let me just tell you that this is a thing in our relationship. This is what you do. You ready? Mike, you're like this and you do this, and you're describing things that you do, but they're only things I do. And I'm like, why am I getting pigeonholed in the corner over here? You do the same thing.
But they're compliments. It's not like I pigeonhole you in bad stuff.
They're distant, separating compliments that somehow have nothing to do with your life when you're doing the same thing.
Well, probably
you're
because
an entrepreneur.
I think only...
Basically,
Here's what I will tell you. Only in the last 6 months have I ever seen that about myself.
Really?
Never have I seen that before. So I think it's just a pretty new concept for me to embrace.
Fair.
And I've started having conversations with my friends like, oh, I think I am. But it was something I was so never. So I didn't go to college. And that created a big old storm in my family. My family ended up, for 2 years, that's all they would talk to me about, is college. And the fact that I wasn't...
Wait, when you say family, you're not talking about your parents.
No,
Who are you
so
talking about?
my aunt and my uncle and my grandma. So
war.
Well, it was all so
that's all they care
here's
about.
the thing. I would walk in, haven't seen my grandma for a year. Hi, Grandma, it's so good to see you. She'd be like, sit down, we need to talk about college. It was not even there was no more relationship. We had no relationship outside of talking about college. So all of them went over and over I remember one of my family members, their family sits me down and they're like, so what if you get married and you have kids and your husband dies? What is the plan? And I was like, this is the worst conversation I've ever been in. But now that I'm older, so that was probably 20-year-old me. I really hated the conversation. Now I'm older, I'm like, I understand you
their motive or their intention.
Totally. You want me to be okay.
Yeah.
You're
and this is the
concerned.
best thing they can think of.
Yes. Consciously, I was like, you're dumb, you have fear. That's what I thought. Consciously, I'm like, no.
They have fear. It's like a disease.
They have fear. Yeah. This is making choices out of fear. I'm not going to choose a career just so that if my husband dies, I'm going to be okay. I have to want.
Can we high five on that, please? Thank you.
Yes.
I love that. Thank you.
But subconsciously, it got in there where it was like, oh, I guess I'm not going to be able to make money. I guess it's all going to be a husband thing.
Wow.
Like, I guess I'll just have to marry somebody who makes money or whatever.
And who will last longer than you.
And who will last longer than me, exactly. And I had just a lot of weird money beliefs. The funny thing is, my mom ended up becoming a ghostwriter. She didn't go to college, but she became a ghostwriter. She wrote books that went into colleges that they used as curriculum.
Irony.
I know.
That's crazy.
I loved it. So she was always super pro it. But because I had a lot of limiting beliefs, I grew up with so much, had a hormone problem that kind of mirrors mental illness when I didn't know how to manage it. And that's like an honest.
Yeah.
Well, you laughed like I was like a joke. I was like, nope, it's like real. And then I had chronic sickness. So
Sorry. I'm not trying to make light of your life / mirrored mental illness, hormone imbalance. It just hearing that come. Yeah. I mean, I know your story. I understand, and I get what you mean by that. It's just like the idea just sounds so absurd.
Yeah, but it really was like that.
Yeah,
I mean, I would like cry uncontrollably and rage uncontrollably and like be depressed overwhelmingly. Like it was like but not because of. I really did have a crazy hormone problem, and when my hormones were fine, it was fine.
Did you ever think you had a mental illness?
No. It was just so normal to me. It was so normal to me. I didn't think it. No. You
didn't think that your behavior was so contrasted from the people around you that you're
like,
it
wasn't contrasted because my mom.
Oh, so it was normal. Like it's just okay.
In my house, like I think my mom was mentally ill, so.
Okay.
It created an atmosphere. I mean, I know she was. I don't say I'm like I know, and so it created an atmosphere where there was a lot of room for that.
Okay.
Now I have no idea.
How did we get here?
I've had all these
beliefs,
you had
poor beliefs about business and money.
I felt so broken as a kid and so incapable, and I got in a car wreck in high school, and so high school was so there's so many things that just felt hard. I never imagined I could be an entrepreneur. I never imagined I could make my own money. I never imagined that I could do that. And to be honest, God kind of snuck me into it. Like, he just keeps fooling me into it. Like, kind of like my friend who just offered to pay me. Like, I didn't think I'm an entrepreneur. I should make money doing this. Like, my friend just started it. And then it's kind of snowballed like that. Even when I decided to train assistants, it was like God spoke to me. This is what you're supposed to do, and this is how you're supposed to build this business. It was just like an idea from God. So I never owned like it as a thing until this year when I started to be like, oh, I don't know that I'm a natural entrepreneur, but I do hear God enough to be an entrepreneur. Like I can actually just like hear him and get business ideas and figure out how to walk it out. So all that to say, it's taken a long time to strip away how I saw myself as a kid to get to where I can see myself as an entrepreneur.
But you still wouldn't tell people that's what you are. Because I might say, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. I own a few different businesses that I love to run and build.
No, I'm not there yet.
So what would you tell people at the airport when they don't know who you are and you're chatting for like 5 minutes? You like this person?
I normally, it all depends. Like if I want to do shock value, I'll say pastor.
Okay.
Because that creates a different kind of conversation.
Right, totally.
But typically it would be like either I'm a speaker, because I do that a lot.
Yeah.
Or I'm a teacher, or I'm a life consultant.
You'd say teacher?
Sure.
And they're like, what do you teach?
Yeah. I'd be like, oh, I teach people life skills, and I teach people how to love themselves, and I teach classes on how to connect to love.
Here's my card.
I don't have cards.
I
know, I'm not good at...
I don't know why I said that.
Yeah, but that would be cute, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I would have pretty ones if they existed.
I'm sure you would.
Uh-huh.
They'd probably like sparkle or light up or something.
When you tell people you're an entrepreneur, do they normally ask you a question after that?
Yeah, what do you do? What kind of entrepreneur? What kind of businesses do you do? Yeah. What kind of entrepreneur do you do?
Entrepreneuring sounds like manure at all?
I've never heard the word entrepreneuring until right now. So it does now.
Manuring.
I would have thought like Imagineering, like Disney World.
Oh.
And like some of those people's their job title is Imagineer.
Exciting.
So I think entrepreneuring is like, you're like an Imagineer.
That's great.
Not manure.
No, I just meant it sounded that way.
Here's the thing, you might just ruin my life. I type the word entrepreneur like on a regular basis, and now I might only see manure when I write that word. Because it is a strange word to have to spell, and I have to stop and think about.
It's a horrible word to spell.
Oh, I got me spelled right now.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's similar to manure.
Entrepreneur.
I hate you.
I'm sorry. Okay, so you say I'm an entrepreneur, and they say, what does that mean?
Like, well, I own a few different businesses, and they're like, what kind of business? I'm like, well,
you sound so fancy. No, that's not a bad thing. That's
where's the eject button on this couch?
No, I mean, oh, look at me. I'm like doing that pulling. Don't say that. I was more like thinking, if I met somebody who's like, oh, I own a couple of business, like, do you feel like such an adult when you say things like that?
I feel like an adult, I think, whether I say that or not.
Oh, that's nice.
You don't feel that way?
Well, when I say things like that, like, here's the thing. I when I was a kid, pretended business all the time.
Oh.
And so, like, what happens is sometimes I'll be on a business call and I'll think, I'm freaking an adult. I'm on a business call. I'm like, especially when I'm like traveling and on a business call, I'm like the people I saw in the movies growing up.
Wow.
I'm traveling and on a business call. I'm so adult.
Interesting.
You never think that?
I mean, I probably did at one point. I don't anymore.
Because it's so normal.
Well, yeah, because I think when I was 28 is when I decided, or when I woke up. I'm 31. I think when I was 28 is when I accepted the idea that I'm an adult. Like, I'm a man. I was like, whoa.
That's a big deal.
I don't necessarily mean like in the masculine sense, like, oh, I've come into being like manhood necessarily. I think I'm more like, oh, I'm an adult in society.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's when that thing turned for me. And so now I think everything that I do is adult.
Yeah. Okay. So, but do you think? Because like I think of myself as an adult, but when I do like movie things where I'm like running businesses.
Oh.
Do you ever like feel like do you check yourself and be like, this is surreal? Like, I'm running a bunch of businesses.
I think that
I have interns.
No, that doesn't hit me.
Okay.
But I mean, I have moments like what you're describing, just not on those details.
What
like
are they on?
So for me, it's probably like, oh my gosh, I just designed a class and now I have 150 people coming to this class. Like, that's amazing. That's amazing to me. That's like, oh, I gotta pinch myself kind of thing.
So when you create something and then people are excited about it, that's when you like...
Yeah, I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. This is amazing. Or if I'm like traveling somewhere to go speak somewhere and it's like there's a certain... Like, I spoke at a business event in Colorado a few months ago and I was like, I can't believe this is happening.
I'm a speaker at a business event.
Right. That to me was like, this is... I don't know that it...
Do you know what is funny? Is it's the opposite for me. Because I speak at things all the time. And I never think like, ooh, look at me, I'm a speaker. I always think like, yeah, this is what I do. But when I do businessy things,
interesting.
I'm like, ooh, I'm businessy.
Interesting. I bet there's a...
But it's probably because I always identified myself. Like, I could always see myself as a speaker. I never saw myself doing business.
Interesting.
So it's like a fun twist.
Yeah, how peculiar.
Plot twist.
Is this you just trying to, like, polarize from me again?
No, I'm saying how we're the same but different.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of us being the same but different, I wasn't thinking about talking about this until, like, 5 minutes ago.
Great.
But you know how you and I have talked about, and you don't need to talk about this if it's, like, too much. But you know how I'm, like, I talk about discerning spirits, and it's a spirit, and you're like, oh my gosh, can we not make it a spirit? You know what I mean? Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
All right, so obviously you guys probably know that I teach on discerning spirits.
What? I'm just kidding. You're known for it. That's what I'm just saying.
You just reveled in that moment for a second. I'm just kidding. And so I've just gone to great lengths articulating and finding ways to conceptualize how I've experienced and understood the spirit realm and how it affects my soul and my emotions and my thoughts and choices and behavior and all that. And so I'm coming from this place where everything was logical and practical and realistic according to the natural realm, right? Yeah. And so discovering the spirit side of all this was such a big deal for me. I was like, oh my gosh, this is spiritual.
Changed your life.
Hello, people don't know this. And then you're coming from...
An overly spiritual world.
The opposite.
Yes.
Are you like my opposite?
I am, but we're like opposite twinsies. Like, we have things that we both love.
For different reasons in different ways.
Yeah. And core values that we both love.
Yeah. I mean, we're coming from...
Because, like, even discerning the spirits, it's designed to help people get free from things that they don't understand.
Totally.
It's like the same thing that I'm doing.
Now, let's hear... You come from, like, hyper-spiritual charismania, right?
Yeah,
like,
I grew up in that, and so everything was a spirit. And there was no practical things, and it made people very powerless.
Like superstitious?
Superstitious, for sure, but also it made it... Victims.
Totally.
Yeah, so it was like, well, I mean, even I remember being like, oh, I don't want to, like, be around, like, your spirit could get on me. Like...
Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, you have like poverty on you. I don't want poverty.
You can't come over.
Yes. I mean, I didn't do that. I didn't avoid people, but there was actually...
Other people did?
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, there's a lot of really big abuses of the spirit.
Totally.
So, not only that, but then people will be like, you can make up a lot of like, well, that person just has that spirit on them when you could be completely misunderstanding them.
Totally.
And so then there's a lot of made up assumptions. So what I have typically seen is spiritual intelligence doesn't come with emotional intelligence, and it ends up creating cycles where you're stuck.
Totally.
So if you have as much emotional intelligence as spiritual intelligence, it's probably going to set you up to be healthy. You have a brain rut. Like, our brains create pathways with neurons when you go over and over and over again. Well, if you're just like, there's a spirit here again, I'm going to cast that out. You're going to be like casting it out for your whole life. And I mean, I meet people like this. And then they're discouraged and they're hopeless. I'm like, oh, actually, you just have to retrain your brain. Like, this isn't that. Like, maybe in the beginning there was something there.
You are my opposite.
Yeah.
Twinsy.
Totally.
My opposite twinsy. So interesting.
But it's because I came from a place of seeing the destruction of this, and you came from a place of seeing the destruction of that.
The absence of.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I think, again, like you're saying, I do the same thing you're describing. I just
Totally.
don't talk about your brain and neurons and pathways. I talk about your soul and like cycles and systems that are same thing.
Totally.
Fascinating. Love it.
Totally.
Now, instead of talking about spirits, you talk more about emotions. Is that right?
Yeah.
Would you say?
And sometimes, here's the truth. I will like...
Here's the truth. Now that we're being honest.
Now.
I'm just kidding.
At this point, I'm
gonna be honest now.
Yeah. You've warmed me up. And
I've worn you down.
We go. Yep. So I will pray about spirits, and even I was on a call with Havilah this morning with a bunch of women, and I was talking about how like you can actually encounter... So I could describe the same situation, I feel like, either way. I could say... you can sometimes encounter a spirit in the mirror, or I could say you can sometimes encounter the emotion of self-hatred or rejection or unworthiness in the mirror. And I feel like both would accurately describe it. To me, the goal is I'm teaching people to not agree with it.
Right.
So
Totally.
whether you call it a spirit or an emotion, you're like, if you're going to disagree with it, the result should be the same.
Totally.
So I don't care what some people I use the word spirit with because I know that they'll use it. Like that will motivate them. Oh, if it's a spirit, I don't want to agree with it.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, if you need to hear it's a self-hatred spirit to reject it, great, call it that. But
it's a demon.
It's a demon. But the
Fight it.
reason that I typically don't is I have found in my own mind when I think of things as demons, and I've seen this with lots of people, when they think of things as demons, they don't think they have power. Like, they don't think it's like, oh, I can't do anything. It's just here. Or, like, it's bigger than me. People give demons personalities, and we have great imaginations about what they look like and act like. Whereas if you just think of an emotion, you feel like, well, I can change the channel. And so and then my other reason that I'm careful with spirit is I don't like glorifying Satan at all.
Totally.
Like, I don't want him getting any credit in my life. So, just because that's what he wanted in heaven. He wanted as much attention as possible. And so I like to give him as little. So I like to acknowledge him as little. But I think I do come from a background where I understand him being involved, so it doesn't feel like I cannot acknowledge him with still the understanding.
Totally.
Where probably people, like you grew up, not acknowledging him didn't mean you understood it. It just meant he didn't exist.
Yeah. Totally. I was actually praying with my team the other day, and it was just, I was praying, everyone else was just kind of agreeing with me. And then...
so you have a yes team.
Oh, I hope they were agreeing with me, because what I was praying was good.
It was real good. My prayers are the best. That's why you're leading movements, Mike, because of your good prayers.
It's because I'm fancy.
You're fancy.
And at some point I said, God, thanks for giving us another opportunity to kick Satan in the teeth again.
Yeah.
And I don't usually pray about Satan or whatever, but I did that in that moment, and then one of the people on my team spoke up and goes, who's that? And then we all busted up laughing. Because we know what she meant, right? And it was perfect and appropriated because we don't want to give him attention either way. But it was funny, you know,
who's
like,
that?
Who's that? It was a great moment. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you actually meant they didn't know who Satan was. And I was like, that's a crazy thing for one of your interns.
No, yeah, that would be a little concerning.
Like, you teach on this.
Yeah. I mean, I have a class on Satan. I'm kidding, I don't. But, that was a great moment. Just because it just reflected our values for, wanting to go after the Lord and agree with him.
Without worshiping him.
Totally. And it was interesting
and
because...
I don't mind. I bring him up a lot. Like, in the sense that I'm like, the accuser wants to lie to you.
Totally.
And wants you to think this. So I talk about the voice of accusation a lot. Because I want to expose it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
But here's what I will say. I think that there's nothing more important than having people who are coming from both sides. Because I've seen freedom doesn't work in extremes. Like, freedom works in wholeness. And so some people are going to get really free calling things spirits because it's going to connect something in their brain.
Yeah.
And it's going to help them disassociate from it and figure out who they are. And some people are going to get really free not calling them spirits. And again, probably a lot of it is the extreme. So if you grew up in an extreme church that is hyper spiritual, I mean, I know so many places where every week they talked about kicking Satan in the face and taking back what he stole, but there's no practical tools how to do that. So you could be like, kick Satan out of your marriage, but if you're not teaching them how to communicate, then every week you're going to have to keep kicking Satan out of your marriage, but you're going to be miserable.
Right, totally.
So I think that it depends. So the goal would be to not have one extreme, but to have voices that help people figure out the balance. Yeah. I think.
Totally, I agree. I think that you and I are speaking to different audiences based on where we're coming from, where they're at.
Totally.
And I think there are times where I'll minimize or even like remove the spirit talk from the conversation because they're grabbing onto stuff. It's like, this is not spiritual, what you're doing, you know? So I agree.
And vice versa, and I will throw it in.
Right, totally. That's so interesting.
Yeah. Here's what I enjoy. What are you on the Enneagram? Do you know what the Enneagram is?
Yeah, I do. I think I'm a 1. I considered maybe I was a 5. I thought I was a 3 for a while. I think I'm actually a 1. I thought maybe I was a 5, but then somebody on my team pointed out 5s love to think about stuff, but don't necessarily need to move to action. 1s must execute. And I was like, oh, that's really... Right. I'm an executor, so I'm probably a 1. I think I'm a 1.
The Enneagram is so funny because...
What's the opposite of a 1? I'm just kidding.
The Enneagram is funny because I had to bounce around a bunch of numbers, and I remember being like, this is the dumbest personality test. If you can't figure out who you are, what's the point of having a test for it? You know? Because it took me months, and I've never been more infuriated by a test. Because I was like, I took the Myers-Briggs once, and it nailed it. So why can't this do that?
Clearly this thing is stupid.
But I was thinking, I wonder if you're a 7 because you have such a high value for fun.
Oh, are you a 7?
No. But I just thought, you are really playful and fun, and I think I was thinking, like, what a good personality if there was going to be somebody to talk about spirits is somebody who's, like, so fun. Because it's not a super heavy conversation. Right, You're actually, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wait, so what are you on the Enneagram?
Oh, I'm a 2-wing 1.
You're a 2?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think Chris Valentin is a 2?
He's an 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just saying we're both...
How are you a head honcho as a 2?
Well, 2s when they're stressed turn to 8s.
Oh, okay.
But I think also I was an only... So 2 is not typical... I'm a very non-typical 2 because... So this is why it took me so long on the Enneagram to figure out. Because I worked through a lot of my 2 problems. I've been in counseling for years. So most 2 things I don't identify with.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at my most natural personality, like what I had to fight through the most, if you look at me at 10 or 12 or 15 or 20, I was definitely a 2.
Interesting.
Yeah.
2 wing what?
1. But so the 1 gives me a lot of like which is why we have like twinsy things. They just show up different.
Totally.
Yeah.
How interesting.
The 1 is like we can change things, and like leader, like I have ideas, we have strategy for moving things forward. We are always thinking and seeing what can be better and how can we grow. So I think like that also 1s are reformers. So they're like strong leaders. So, but Chris for sure is an 8. He challenges just because he likes to challenge.
Right,
like he loves when he creates controversies on social media. I don't have that personality.
I don't love that.
I would love to help you, but I don't want to get in a fight with you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I don't identify with that either.
Yeah. But did you feel like it made sense
I think 1 makes the most sense thus far in my...
Because why?
Because I do feel like a reformer. I feel very part of the thing about a 1. By the way, those of you guys who don't know what Enneagram is, it's
Satan.
Enneagram is Satan in modern culture.
Well, because people think about Enneagram, they think of
pentagram.
Yes.
I know I do.
Yeah.
You look at that book, you're like, look at this witchcraft book. So glad that people on my team are reading this. Enneagram's a personality test that's like ancient and really developed and all the rage right now. It's been around for a long time, but
a fad.
It has definitely like skyrocketed in popularity in the last couple of years. Anyway, so the thing that I identify strongly with the 1 is they're very, I don't know if dogmatic's the right word, but black and white.
Oh, that is true.
What's true, what's not true. Like they're very, on
that
things they care about. And
you.
that's true about me for sure. Yeah, which is why the reformer thing, right? It's very clear what should or should not be happening.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean.
So do you have to work on compassion?
Yeah. I don't know that I feel like I work on it. I definitely have to like open myself up to being willing to go down that road because it's not my natural go-to. I'm more like, let's fix it. Let's change it. Let's identify the problem and destroy it. Let's
get past this.
Let's get over that and move on with our lives.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is so evident in like what you do. Like, here's some problems. I'm going to show you how to get out of them.
Yeah. I'm writing an ebook right now called...
Ooh.
I didn't say that. I'm writing an ebook.
Yay!
Yeah, it's
so many projects.
I know. Oh, you're going to love the title. You ready?
Okay. Spirit to Spirit.
It's called...
Spirit Wars 2.
No, but I got to change the title now. No, it's called Spirit Tracker.
Oh, uh-huh.
And I'm on I wrote down 10 phases that people go through when it comes to a spirit influence. Anyway.
Well, I'm listening.
No, totally.
I
just can't believe I'm talking about this right now. This is crazy. I was talking about the different ways that our being picks up spiritual information.
Uh-huh.
Right, so we've got the feeler thing in our environment, but I'm talking about lots of different ways that we pick that stuff up and just kind of articulating the different aspects of these expressions. And I wonder sometimes in the Enneagram how much of those aspects of us also play into how we interact with and relate to that personality bent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't feel like compassion is far away from me, actually. I feel like I'm a pretty naturally compassionate person when it comes to how I experience the world. Mm-hmm. When it comes to helping someone out of a problem, I don't tend to empathize right away. Right? It doesn't mean there's a lack of compassion. Totally. I actually feel very connected to compassion, but I'm like...
I wasn't saying you don't have compassion.
No, totally.
I was just thinking black and white often struggles with compassion because compassion can be gray.
Yeah. To me, in that moment, compassion actually feels like I'm going to help them legitimately change
I'm going to kick you out of this.
Well, I'm going to help them change this for the rest of their life, not just get them to feel better in this moment.
Totally.
You know, it's kind of where that...
So you think compassion just makes people feel better in the moment?
No. I think... I'm afraid that we'll get totally derailed if I talk about this.
Oh, I don't care.
You don't care if we get derailed?
Oh, I don't care what we talk about. So you can either keep going or change the subject.
I don't think compassion just only caters to how people feel.
Yeah.
But I also think compassion legitimately doesn't coddle evil.
Yeah.
Right? And so in how that's expressed, I think sometimes in our vernacular, people think compassion means you have to be soft and nice.
Oh, yeah. No.
And sometimes we're like, no, compassion sometimes means it's time to kick this thing out. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of where it's coming from.
I had one of my interns, this is one of my favorite stories. We were in a car where all of us were driving somewhere. So all of the intern team. And what
do you mean you were all driving somewhere?
Like...
You were on the same vehicle going somewhere?
We're in a vehicle.
I was like, everyone's driving? What?
Oh, sorry. I was like, I don't know where you're confused. We just all were in a car.
Got it, okay.
People do this on a regular basis. It doesn't feel like a wild concept
I have done that before with other people.
Driven. Yes. Anyway, so I start confronting her about something, and she was like, I can't believe you're doing this. And I'm like, listen, I don't coddle fear. Like, you can tell me all about it, but I don't coddle fear. And she was just like, ah! But I am very compassionate.
Did she do that?
Yeah. She's like, ah! Okay, but I'm with you. I don't want to coddle something that, like, I'm not going to coddle your prison.
Totally.
Because that's killing you.
Yes.
Empowerment without compassion becomes religion. Because it becomes rules. This is what you have to do. This is how you have to get out. This is how you have to figure it out.
Totally.
But compassion without empowerment becomes self-pity.
An enablement.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Could we replace the word compassion with empathy? Or did that change it for you?
No, I feel like it's like same concept.
To me, empathy and compassion to me feels like a bigger deal than empathy.
Oh, what does compassion feel like to you?
To me, compassion is like from a deep place being moved and compelled to want to support, contribute, cover, protect. Uh-huh. In my mind is like where
empathy.
And then empathy would be like, I identify with your pain in this place. Like I can connect with that, and I feel it.
My counselor says compassion can only be given from an equal to an equal.
What?
Yeah, and so most people, if they're giving compassion, because she says it's not true compassion if you think you're better than them.
Oh, interesting.
And so if you don't think of them as an equal, like if you think like I'm pulling you along, or I'm like,
it's like pity or sympathy or something.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea.
Who is this? Who said this?
My counselor. But I'm like, I haven't landed on what I think about, because I'm like,
interesting.
Because then I would have to insert that into the Bible, because Jesus was moved by compassion for people.
For all of his equals.
But that wouldn't be untrue to his nature, I don't think. But I haven't decided that that's what I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something that I'm like wrestling through, because I'm like, there's a chance, like that's what Jesus did. He became equals with us. Like he became a human.
Yeah.
So then that would actually apply.
Yeah.
But it would also affect my theology a little bit. Like I'd have to really see him doing that. But do you know that they say that when you feel compassion, it releases oxytocin, which is the same chemical as an orgasm?
Thank you.
Well, you're single. You want some happy hits.
No, totally.
Go feel compassion.
Totally. That actually makes a lot of sense.
It's bonding, but it's when you give compassion that you experience it. Which I think is God like designed so that we would feel the gift of giving tangibly in our bodies.
Yeah, wow. That's awesome. I love that.
Anyway, so you have a book about spirit hacks, spirit
I
alerts.
should have called it that, but I called it Spirit Tracker.
Spirit Tracker. I knew it was something with
I hope the day doesn't come where I regret that title, but...
Spirit Tracker.
Oh,
God. Is it going to have like a periscope or whatever they're called? That's what I think of with the lines.
We actually did a contest where people could like submit designs of what they would like the cover to look like. Basically, the one we're landing on it's a hand reaching out from the side of the shot, holding a black framed whiteboard, like my whiteboard.
What?
And then inside the white of the whiteboard is like an outlined dotted hand, and you can see where the hand is holding it. And then on the outside is where the physical hand is, and you can basically see, and it says Spirit Tracker, and it's like a play on my whiteboard and I love that. That was so creative.
How many ebooks have you written?
This is my second one.
What was your first one?
It was on digestion. I'm not kidding. It was on gut health.
Recently?
Yeah. Well, I wrote it like a year and a half ago.
Is it about isotonics?
No, it's about like stomach acid and food, like acidic food, and because I lost my voice for 8 months.
And you had
I had to change my whole lifestyle. Miserable. It was awful. It was
that's
a
like
nightmare.
Worst case scenario.
It was scary.
Especially for a speaker.
Right? A speaker, coach, mentor, trainer, teacher. Yeah, it sucked. So And
then you're like, thank God the whiteboard was already my thing.
Totally, because I can just
write notes to everybody. Like this was a prophetic thing, so I would be set up for success.
Oh my! Because the first 2 specialists I saw told me it was like a digestion thing, and I was like, that's not true.
Right.
Because I know better than them.
Right, it doesn't make sense. It's non-logical.
I couldn't accept it.
It's nonsensical.
So I went to Nashville to see a specialist who works with a bunch of rock
singers,
country singers.
Yeah,
like world renowned. And so I went to him. He said the same thing. I was like, okay, I guess that's what it is. Once I accepted that, and then I realized I actually knew someone who was specialized in digestion health. So I called her up, was like, hey, can you help me? And she, within 10 days, got my voice back. I was shocked.
10 days?
Yeah. She told me it would take 2 weeks, and I was like, I didn't believe her. I was like, there's no way. And I was like, wait, I have no other option. She was the only person I talked to who had any level of confidence.
Days?
And 10 days later, my voice came back.
Wait, what'd you do?
I'd stopped eating a bunch of stuff already. Okay. I had been doing some vocal exercises. None of that stuff was working, which is why I went to Nashville. Right. So she actually put me on a few different supplements, and some of them were they? So it was an aloe that I was drinking, a digestive health supplement, a probiotic, and some fiber powder, but specific like concentration quality stuff. Those are the 4 things I just started using. Certain dosages every day at a certain interval, and by 10 days, my voice was back. I was like, are you kidding me? So now I actually do digestive health webinars with people and just kind of help them figure out where is this coming from. I'm not a specialist and they know that, but here's the products that I've used, and people are seeing some crazy results. I mean, people have a lot of digestive problems, not just what I had. There's like IBS and acid reflux and all these issues. So crazy.
You know what I'm about to try? Coffee enemas.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's a digestion health thing.
Where you shoot coffee up your butthole.
Yeah. I'm about to try it. I haven't tried it yet. I don't know. It sounds horrible.
How did you get on the idea that this would be a good idea?
Well,
I have
lots of health problems. It's definitely a spirit. The spirits guided me to the coffee aisle and said, shove this up your butt. And I thought, that sounds like a spirit to listen to. So I am.
Is that you, Lord?
Totally.
Oh my gosh, I'm crying. Wait, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I have some health issues, and one of them is really connected to my liver, and one of them is connected to my body doesn't detox well. And one of my best friends got cured from cancer.
From coffee enemas?
Okay, I have to retell the story. Not one of my best friends, one of my friends. And
I don't love them that
there
much.
were no. I like to tell real because I'm like, what if they see this? Yeah. They're gonna then be like, oh no, we never talk.
Oh, we're best friends.
Yeah.
You're a terrible.
You're a terrible friend. Exactly. So we're friends, and she did multiple things, but one of the things was coffee enemas every day.
And it helped.
And it changed her life. And then I've had multiple doctors talk to me about how valuable it is, and I was like, you know what?
Is there a place you go to have this done?
No, you
or
do it yourself.
Are you nervous about having to do
Yes!
that?
I have to lay on the bathroom floor.
Yeah, how do you do this?
Said, well, you put a tube in. And
no, what?
Yeah.
In your anus.
It has like it has a like end, and you put it in.
Oh, like it's like a funnel.
Tip. Yeah, funnel tip. And then you put the tube in, and then the coffee comes from the bag and flows in, and then you try to keep it in you. Like you fill up as much as you can. You keep it in you as long as you can. And then you've got to just dump
and then
it
you
all
just
out,
diarrhea
and then
it
do
later.
Again. Well, no, you diarrhea it like right then, like because you're trying to hold it in.
It doesn't hold for very long.
I've only had a colonic, but the similar concept. They pump liquid in you and you try to hold it as long as possible.
How long does it tend to go for?
I mean, when I held it as long as possible, it was like a couple minutes.
Wow.
And
does it hurt?
It's horrible. It's the feeling of like when you have to do the worst diarrhea ever. Like, you know when you're on like a road trip and you like suddenly get like flushed.
It's the worst
and you're
one
like,
ever.
oh, this is horrible. I've got to get to a bathroom.
Sweating.
Yes, you're sweating. That is exactly what it was like because you're like trying not to go to the bathroom, and it's the same feeling as when you're in a car and you have to go so bad and you're like, just make it to the gas station. Just make it to the gas station. And so you're like sitting there being like, I'm trying. And then I literally was like, I can't do it anymore. And I ran and just flushed it all out.
So are you doing this by yourself, or is Justin going to help you?
You know, I never thought about having Justin help me.
Can you do it alone? I really have trouble.
You can.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then you probably would want to do it alone, don't you think?
I'm going to do it alone. But my friend said she'll stay at my house so I can call her on my phone and ask her questions if I need to. I don't think I want her in my house because I don't want to hear noises. So I think I'll just like...
You don't want her hearing what you're doing?
The noises.
Oh, you
whatever
just
your stomach is going to
releasing
be. Like, I want it to be free to be like as wild as it needs to be.
You do you, boo. Here we go.
You do you.
Wow.
But I could record it. I mean, it'd probably be a funny noise.
I think you should definitely record as much of this experience as possible.
I'm going to. I probably will do like stories about. Like,
I'm gonna want to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Please tag me on one.
But that's like something I've decided to try, and I'm trying the celery juice trend. Which
I've heard. I have celery in my fridge. One of my interns got for me to juice celery in the morning. I haven't tried it yet.
So you got to do like before you eat any food.
Yeah.
And on an empty stomach.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see.
I've heard it tastes horrible. I haven't tried it yet.
Depends on the celery you buy.
Oh.
Like there's certain stores that it tastes horrible and certain stores that taste better.
How does Costco fare? Have you tried it yet?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? How does it taste?
Horrible.
Oh, okay.
But I love Costco, so I didn't want to say anything negative about it. But I would still choose. I mean, it's 1/6 cheaper than. I made up that number because I don't know, but it's so much cheaper than other places.
Okay.
But it's not the season for celery, so I actually think when celery's in season, it'll probably taste better.
Okay. Nice.
But I think anybody can down a drink that's 10 ounces.
Right. I think, we'll be fine. It's just like, you're going to not enjoy it for 30 seconds.
But maybe...
Probably not like coffee.
You'll have to tell me what you think.
Yeah.
If it helps.
Great.
I can't tell yet.
Okay.
It's a lot of work.
Like what it's doing?
Yeah.
Oh, how long have you been doing it for?
A week or two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great. I'll text you when I start seeing results.
Mm-hmm.
Abby, it's happening.
It's happening.
Forget the coffee. Just do
the celery.
Right. Okay, not to cut us off all like inorganically, but we gotta wrap this up. But thank you so much for being
inorganically stopping our poop talk.
Yeah, we need to put an end there. We gotta stop that up. How do people find your anything? Do you have a website that they go to?
I do. AbiStumvoll.com. Abi Stumvoll on Instagram. The Connected Life on Facebook. The Connected Life podcast. Justin Stumvoll. I'm there sometimes.
We're going to put Abby's link at the bottom of this page or video
fancy.
so you can see it. And yeah, it's great. Abby, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining me.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me today. This is awesome.
Anytime. Come over to my place. Anytime.
Perfect. I'll do that. I'll bring my funnel and everything. You guys remember to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know. How's your gut health doing? What do you got? Any tricks going on that you could tell us about? Put them in the comments below. We want to know. Seriously. Okay, bye.